Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today we're going to start on a project that hopefully is just function stacked out the wazoo. If that even is such a thing. I tell you what, let's get through the intro and I'll explain it here on the other side. So come along. All right, so I'm up here at the first bench of our north ridge, here at our water tank that we painted black a couple months ago. And this was the source of water for irrigating a lot of things on the garden side of our farm. Well, this position, of course, is higher in elevation than anything that's farm related. Everything behind you guys is just woods. Everything in front of you and behind me is garden, is mobile coop, is chicken church, is blueberries, and even north pig pasture. So everything's down slope here. So it's ideal for me to have water source collected and stored up here so I can use gravity, of course, to provide water to all of those different areas. Well, the problem, as you know, if you've watched the channel for a while, that just setting the tank up here really doesn't help me because I got to transport water up to it, fill it up, burn a lot of diesel, burn a lot of time, pump water out of the creek, blah, blah, blah. What I need is rain catchment. Well, I could obviously configure some things. There's even rain catchment things you can now attach to the top of an IBC tote. There's various options I can do to just do rain catchment, but I want to function stack that process and get more value out of what efforts I'm going to do and any money I'm going to spend. So it would behoove me to have right beside this tank some sort of roof slope that is capturing rainwater and through a gutter and a pipe is just dumping it straight into that tank. That would be the most ideal because I could use that structure for other purposes. And right now the purpose I've identified for that structure is firewood storage. If you guys have been watching the channel, like, Troy, but you don't burn firewood. You said natural gas has always been cheaper for you. And to that I say, yes, it always has been, but it's no longer. Natural gas and some of the electricity we need to run our furnace, all that's getting more expensive. So that's got my attention, but also my desire to be less grid tied and be more resilient with resources we have here on our 100 acres. So obviously with the sawmill, I produce a lot of slabs that can be converted into firewood. There's a lot of benefit there. It's just getting to the point economically where I'll trade off spending money on resources coming in via electricity and gas versus my time and energy to convert waste material or a lot of material I have standing on the farm here into that energy we need. So a firewood stand here would be ideal with a shed style roof that runs water into the tank. Well, because I can't leave well enough alone, I also want to make this an educational opportunity. I have been wanting to build a shed for my sawmill, and I've been wanting to do timber frame because it's something I've always wanted to get into. I've done some post and beam, but nothing serious when it comes to true timber framing. Well, the shed project is going to be pretty daunting because it's going to require a lot of specific engineering, heavy beams. I mean, my main span beam is going to be like an 8x12. And I think I need to get a little more experience under my belt before I just take on that project first. So what better way to kind of cut my teeth on timber framing than to build the firewood shed out of a timber frame structure? So the other night I sat down and sketch up and thought, well, let's draw something that's going to be simple to build timber frame, not going to require a lot of material. It's going to fit well in this little footprint and of course not take 2 years to build as a lot of my projects do. And so you can see here in the SketchUp drawing I did, it's just a simple 4-post, single slope shed style roof, no crazy joinery. Now we will do something fun with the floor. The corner joints there, I think we'll be exploring some opportunity with spline joints. But we'll detail that as we get into this more. So I think that's going to work out best for us. That's going to provide storage for firewood. An 8x10 is going to be a decent amount of firewood that I can store in there. With a shed style type roof in this timber frame type build, I can also expand this way toward the way timber's nose is pointing and add on to that. And that would just be adding 10-foot sections. So we'd have 8x10, then 8x20, and possibly even 8x30 if we wanted to get so froggy. And then of course we could add more gutter, same slope line of the roof, and be creating more opportunities to catch water. So it has expansion opportunities should I really get into burning a lot of firewood and needing a lot of that. But the first thing I need to do is get the site prepped. So this white oak has to come down. And of course, will be a great candidate for the mill. The first at least 8 foot there is a good saw log. And of course, everything north of that that's not millable will become firewood, and it can hang up in the rack we're going to create. So I'm going to get started with putting this tree on the ground, doing a little bit of site prep here with the tractor, and then we want to do some more permanent style pier foundation. So we may even do some concrete work. Still mulling that over in my head. Depends on what I can do here with the site prep. Now, obviously, this is going to be a multi-video project because it's going to take a while to do. And I think what I'm going to try to do, don't quote me on this, but I'm going to try to do is do a lot of the detail work, where if you want to see the nitty-gritty of the timber frame, just like I promised with the timber frame sawmill shed, we'll detail that over on our other channel, Woodcraft Revival, because that'll get really deep in the weeds. And those of you guys that come here for more of the overview of just kind of building, homesteading, farming, pigs, all that type of stuff, then it won't bore you as we get down deep into that. And if you want to, you can always go to the other channel. That'll be the plan. All right, enough talk. Let's make some sawdust fly. All right, that went as planned. Missed the big shagbark hickory there, which was good. I didn't want it to get hung, and even missed this little white oak, which is a scrub tree. It's got to come out anyway. But I think that'll give me some room. I'll cut my saw log out of this. There's a pretty good flare at the bottom of that log. So we're really probably only dealing with about a 14-inch diameter log once we get that flare, that bell out of there. But take that limb out, some of these other small limbs, cut us a decent sized log. Get that out of the way. And I've got the chipper hooked up to the tractor. I could stop and chip, but that doesn't keep me on task. So I think what I'll do is just limb that enough out of the way that I can get past it, pile those limbs up, and then we'll save that for another chipping day when we're coming through and chipping more than just that. Well, believe it or not, I think that's decently level and packed down. The corner closest to you guys, of course, is the most fill and the most concern. But we're doing an 8x10. So if we're going to come out to here, and 10 feet. I left that stump. I could have cut that a little shorter, I guess. Yeah, 10 feet's right here. So I still have another 5 feet before I get to my hard break. So I don't know, we may move it around a little bit. The game plan will be to take boards. So we'll go down to the mill, get some boards, and we'll just pour form squares that will recess down into the ground to whatever degree. we need with, and then of course fill with concrete. And I use my laser level to shoot to make sure we're getting fairly plumb, fairly level. And that way when we build the timber frame, the way we're going to build it, hopefully, it's one of those deals, if we have frost heave and it raises and lowers, it's not a big deal. It's not like a house where your stick-built walls are going to flex and crack and do all that. If this thing has any frost heave, it should move together. So just you high on one side or low on the other. Obviously no drywall or anything like that to crack. So I'm not really worried about that kind of stuff. I just want it to set level and not blow over the hill in a heavy wind. All right, so I had a little poplar log that was left over from one of the bigger logs, trees that I had milled. So milled that out. I got a 7x8 cant out of that, and just milled 1 inch on my scale, which doesn't account for the curve. So that's about 7/8. So 7/8 thick boards. Some had some wane on them, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 boards out of that are 8 inches wide. I'm not going to need all of those, clearly. Probably need a third of that. But I thought I'd go ahead and bring them all up here because you never know when you're doing a construction project. You always need some scrapped wood for something. So I'm going to sort these out, get the ones with a nice clean edge, and start framing out my, my squares. And then I'll use my laser level to figure out where we need to be there. All right, so everybody named Wayne over here on my foot. Okay, for the foundation pads, I'm going to whip together 4 16x16 squares. That'll be 8 inches tall. And those will be my forms for my foundation piers, or foundation pads, not piers. So I'm just going to cut these out, screw them together real quick. So I'll catch you guys. I'll do a time lapse of that. All right, so there's our 4 form boxes. So the inside dimensions are 15 by 15. That's what I expected. So now, of course, do some layout. Probably need to figure out where my highest spot is or my lowest spot is. Lowest spot, highest spot. Don't want to build up. Want to have to dig down if need be. So probably need to start with my lowest spot. Get that figured out. So this is a rudimentary layout. It's fairly square actually because I can use the straight edges of the boards with my tape to line it up. So what I'm doing is I'm extending the size of the box by 15 inches in both dimensions. That way my corners, my posts, will be in the dead center, both dimensions of these foundation pads. So it sticks it out a little bit further. Gets a little bit into my road, but I think that'll be okay. This oak tree, probably gonna have to take it down at some point too, because it's kind of in the way. But that will allow me to obviously, where you guys are standing in the road, so it's not like I'm blocking my road. I'll still be able to come up with a trailer with the tractor or whatever I'm using to haul firewood in and be able to, the opening of course will be here, I think, and not here because I want the width versus the depth. So I want this to be where I would load the firewood. So you guys would be right where I would park the trailer or bring the tractor bucket in and unload firewood this direction. So I think that'll be fine again with that oak out of the way at some point. Then maybe it just makes us more room. Okay, now I got to figure out elevation. That's the fun part. So I only brought one tripod with me, and I had to use that, of course, for the laser level. This is kind of my redneck engineering process on this. So what I do is I just have my, see that or not? I can get back far enough away from it. That is my drywall square. What the heck is T-square, whatever the heck it's called. And I just use it as a storyboard. So when I come drop it in the area here, let's get a wide angle. So when I come drop it in the area here, then I can just read the measurement. So in doing those, I've got 7-inch difference. So that one over there is my lowest one, and this is my highest one. So there's 7 inches difference. So what I would need to do is, and I'm doing it from the ground, not the top of the board, because obviously the board's kind of catty-swampered with the tire ruts. So this one would need to come down 7 inches, almost the depth of the board itself. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit. All right, well, I realized I was overthinking this and probably thinking, Troy, when have you ever overthought something? So my design is a post structure, not starting with a flat floor, like a sill plate. We're going to start with posts, and then we're going to add a sill plate. So while I've got these now, I mean, this, instead of 7-inch variance, there's about a 3-inch variance, if even that, between all 4 of these. But I realized what I can do, of course, is just cut my, do my joinery for the top, work my way down on those 4 main support posts, and then just cut off the difference. So if this is 2 inches higher than that, and of course we'll just cut 2 inches off the bottom of that post once we got all of our joinery done. So we'll actually do all of our layout from the top of the post down instead of from the bottom of the post up. And that way I can just cut everything to length that needs to be. And each post, of course, will be assigned to a pad, whereas the other way would be all 4 of those posts could be interchangeable. But I think this is the easiest way to do it without coming back and keep digging and realigning and everything. So got everything square, got everything level, and I think we're ready to start putting some concrete in. But we're not going to be able to do concrete this evening. We're going to hit pause because today is Friday, but Sunday is coming. And for those of you who know what that means, it's Good Friday. And I have, as an elder of the church, I'm responsible to help with the ordinance of communion. So I have to go get cleaned up and get ready for that and enjoy a really good Friday service with friends. But I will pick this up tomorrow, Lord willing, and the clouds don't open up. We're supposed to get some rain tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so it's the next day, and fortunately we got an overcast day, so not nearly as hot. But we're going to mix concrete. I've got Portland, sand, and gravel, and we're going to do just a 1-2-3 ratio there. I'm going to mix it in the bucket. So we'll get it all stirred up in the bucket, add water, get a nice stiff slump so it can transport easily. Get it up there, and then shovel it into our forms. And if we need more, just come back down and do so. So I've got some Portland here. I think is still okay. It's been out a little bit, so it's picked up a little bit of humidity. But I think it'll work. So I'll get my shovel here and kind of dispense that into the bucket. Keep track of how many shovelfuls I do, and then my big sand and gravel pile I have over here beside Cam's car. We'll get that, then we'll come back for water. Shoveling out of a bucket's not the easiest thing in the world to do, is it? There, Timbo. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to call that 6. So this concrete mixture will have an extra special secret ingredient, and that will be cat turds, because the cats have used this as the residential litter box for the last 6 months. Okay, so 6 Portland. So it's a 1-2-3 ratio, so 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. So 12 of these, 18 of these. All right, let's go back to the water. We'll mix a little bit more. I'll get a hoe, mix a little bit better, and then add water. Oh, the breeze is nice. Keep the grass out of it. Vibration of the tractor really makes it go into a slurry. All right, so everybody's filled up. Took the tractor down and the tools and got them cleaned up. Let's see if I can. Didn't wait too long to float this a little bit. All right, so I think that's going to be it for the day. Obviously, we got to wait for that to cure. And it looks like the rain's going to hold off till late tonight. So as long as we don't get an absolute frog choker, I think that'll be okay. It won't beat dimples into this. If it does, it's not a huge deal. Obviously, all we're doing is having a foot to mount our 6x6 mounting bracket on. And just want big sturdy feet in soil. So that's all we're doing. So for the next part of this, we'll be going to the woods and selecting smaller rounds because my posts are going to be 6x6s. So I want to go, instead of wasting large poplar that I have down at the mill already, I want to get smaller poplar because I want to isolate the heart for the post. And we'll get into detail on that, probably get into detail on that into the other channel. I think this dogwood's going to have to come out because that thing's whacked me in the head about 6 times. All right, well, I appreciate everybody watching. I pray you all have a great week. And if you're watching this the day it came out, he is risen. He is risen indeed. It's Easter Sunday. God bless. Pray you have a great day. Take care.